The door clicks shut, the sound of finality. For Chloe Sterling, this room isn't a cage, it's a stage. Detective Thorne places a manila folder on the table. It contains the toxicology report. Arthur Sterling's death was a chemical masterpiece, almost.
Thorne, Chloe, help me understand the timeline again. Your father took his supplements at 2:45.
Chloe, exactly 2:45. He was very routine-oriented. He never missed a dose.
The routine. It's the first thing a killer relies on. And the first thing that betrays them.
Thorne, strange. Because the digital lock on the safe, the one where he kept these supplements, it was accessed at 2:15 a.m. by a code registered to your personal device.
Chloe doesn't blink. She doesn't gasp. She simply adjusts her posture.
Chloe, I was checking his inventory. I'm his daughter, detective. I look out for him.
Thorne, looking out for him. Is that what we're calling it now?
Silence follows. In this room, silence is an interrogation tactic. A 19-year-old girl, a multi-million-dollar estate, and a father who was about to change his will. The allergic reaction didn't sit right with the lead toxicologist. The compound found in Arthur's system wasn't an allergen. It was a heart rate modulator, rare, lethal, and virtually untraceable, unless you knew exactly what to look for. This wasn't a search for a poison. It was a search for a cover-up. Investigators combed through her laptop. They found months of research. The search bar overlay activates. It types out in slow motion how to mimic the symptoms of a genetic heart defect using supplements. Chloe wasn't just a grieving daughter. She was a student of murder, curating a death that would look like biology, not malice.
Thorne, you've been busy. Chloe, your search history reads like a PhD in cardiology.
Chloe, I was worried about him. He had a family history of heart issues.
Thorne, except your father's DNA test, the ones you also downloaded showed 0 markers. Thorne, you weren't looking for a weakness he had. You were looking for one you could create.
The silence in the room changes. It's no longer peaceful. It's heavy. Chloe's story was built on the foundation of a medical accident. But digital footprints don't have accidents. They have timestamps. 1:14 a.m. Login. 1:22 a.m. Search for calcium channel blockers. 1:45 a.m. Search for fatal dose by body weight.
Thorne, you even calculated the metabolism rate. You wanted to attack it while you were in the room. Thorne, why? For the 911 call. To make sure you were the one to tell the story.
Chloe, I was trying to save him. The searches were preventative.
Preventive, a word used to stop something from happening. But when the police searched the trash bins behind the Sterling estate, they found the prevention, a crushed blister pack of propranolol. Not prescribed to Arthur, not prescribed to Chloe.
Thorne, we found the source, Chloe, a dark web vendor, paid for in Monero. Thorne, and we found the hardware key in your jewelry box.
The game of chess was over. The board was being cleared. The student of murder had forgotten one thing. Forensic investigators are students, too. Why? Was it the inheritance, the freedom, or something more foundational? Psychologists characterize this as a clinical detachment. Chloe represents a new archetype of offender, the Gen Z sociopath. She didn't view her father as a parent. She viewed him as a financial variable, a roadblock in a long-term equation. She possessed the ability to segment her life, to compartmentalize. To her, the human cost was simply a transaction fee.
Thorne, you didn't cry when we told you he passed. Chloe, you asked about the insurance policy.
Chloe, I was in shock. I was thinking about the practicalities. That's how he raised me.
But the practicalities began long before he died. High school records describe her as gifted, yet chillingly pragmatic. One teacher noted, Chloe doesn't play with others. She manages them. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was an executive decision.
Thorne, we checked your encrypted messages. You were talking to your boyfriend about the new life. Thorne, he thought you were talking about moving. You were talking about a funeral.
Chloe's facade begins to crack, not with tears, but with irritation.
Chloe, you're making me sound like a monster. I loved him.
Love, for Chloe, was a performance metric. When the performance stopped being profitable, she changed the script. Thorne leans in close. His voice is a whisper now. Chloe looks up. For the first time, the stillness is gone. She doesn't confess. She doesn't scream. She simply asks for a glass of water. The inheritance game was won. But the prize was a 6x9 cell. The turning point was subtle. A digital thread. Chloe had purchased the compound through a burner crypto wallet. She thought she was invisible. She didn't realize the wallet's recovery email was her primary personal address, the one she used for her school account.
Thorne, I think we're done with the stories. Chloe.
The detective places the printout of the recovery logs on the table. For the first time, her eye twitches. The silence lasts for 40 seconds. In this silence, the truth isn't spoken. It's felt. Chloe doesn't try to explain it away. She doesn't scream. She just stops talking. The mask finally slips not into tears, but into a cold, hollow recognition. The game is over.
Thorne, your father's estate is frozen. Chloe, there is no inheritance. Thorne, there's only this room. And what you say next.
The Gen Z sociopath had calculated for every variable, except for the persistence of her own digital shadow. She looks up at Thorne. The stillness is gone. Her hands are shaking.
Chloe, what happens now?
What happens is the inevitable consequence of biology over malice. Arthur Sterling was dead, but Chloe was the one whose life had ended. The inheritance game. Final score, 0. The verdict was read on a Tuesday. It took the jury less than 4 hours. Life without the possibility of parole. $1 billion inheritance, now frozen in litigation. Arthur Sterling's legacy was not his software, but the cold calculation of the daughter he raised in the shadow of his success. In the end, the inheritance game had no winners. Only a quiet house, a digital footprint, and a 6x9 cell. Chloe's defense argued diminished empathy. The state argued pure greed. But biology is rarely that simple. She sought a life of infinite resources. She found a life of infinite silence. The investigators moved on. The headlines faded. But for Detective Thorne, the silence of that final interrogation, it still rings. Logic didn't fail Chloe Sterling. Humanity did. The inheritance game.